Last year, in 2010, 91 babies were abandoned in drains, washrooms, mosques, and other public places in Malaysia. This year, in the first week of 2011 alone, 7 babies were abandoned, an average of 1 a day. Experts say that the main cause of Malaysian baby dumpings is the stigma young unwed mothers face from the conservative religious community. Even healthcare providers have been known to demand marriage certificates from women in labor to prove that their baby is legitimate. Girls are sometimes no longer welcome in their families, homes, and communities after it is discovered that they are pregnant outside of wedlock. Under this kind of pressure, many feel that the best way to deal with their unwanted baby is to get rid of it as quickly as possible. Malaysiakini spoke to 2 NGOs and the Office of the Minister of Women, Family and Community Development to try and get a handle on what these young girls go through and what is being done to help them and their fragile newborn children. The Chow Kit Red Light District is no place for a child, but NGOs will tell you that there are plenty to care for here. The children of immigrants, sex workers, and those simply caught in the cycle of poverty, these children are often unsupervised, uneducated, and vulnerable. Nur Salaam, an NGO that operates out of Kuala Lumpur, runs a 24-hour children's activity center, a baby daycare, and a teen crash pad in Chow Kit. We met with Dr. Hartini, the general manager of Nur Salaam, to speak about the young pregnant girls and their babies that come to Nur Salaam's doorstep.
Nur Salaam started as, and it still is for right now, a community project at the Yayasan Salam Malaysia, which is the Malaysian equivalent to the American Peace Corps. And when we started the center here, it was really to fill a need and many gaps in protection of children at risk, or most at risk, here in this area in Chow Kit. We're going to be 4 years come this April, and we have 3 centers now and a school that we're still trying to get off the ground. But we have, over 1,000 kids.
And so, as sort of this community center, how are you affected by women abandoning their babies?
We actually, the first year I started, I would say that we were getting mothers and who were abandoning their children almost every month here. And I think the second year it got to the point where it was 3 times a week. But I have to say, last year and this year, the number of cases of children abandoned where they're left at our doorsteps or mothers come in and leave their child and run out, it's much rarer. I think part of the reason is because there are other options. There are other NGOs and places to go like Orphan Care, Baby Hatch, etc. and stuff. I think the public's made more aware of the issues, and there is more information out there for mothers who are abandoning their children. However, having said that, there are also options in terms of baby selling and trafficking, etc., where mothers now know they don't have, which is bad, they don't have to just leave a baby with the NGO or the orphanage or sell them to Orphan Care. They can sell them too, which, like I said, is actually a bad thing.
Should the government be doing something different or new?
Yeah, they could tell the zealots and the religious leaders who misinterpret or misrepresent or say that punitive actions should be taken against women or girls who are pregnant or have children born under wedlock. Must be punished. There's always punitive. There's always a punitive approach to it that has to stop. There has to be a kinder government approach to taking care of the babies and the mothers and the girls and the young girls, actually a lot of them, who feel that there is no place for support for them to do it because they made a mistake. There has to be a different approach to that, and knee-jerk reactions to this problem of abandoned babies, whether it's opening more welfare homes or opening schools or it's just not the way to go. Baby hatches and like what Orphan Care is doing is only a part of the solution, but you can't be opening baby hatches and NGOs like Nur Salaam and centers everywhere. The whole point is to minimize and contain the issue, not build and address the issue and say, well, we have a problem, keep building. You have to look at what the root cause is. And, you know, intervention and rehabilitation or reintegration of that abandoned baby or the mothers and stuff is something that's secondary. What we should look at is the prevention part. What do you do before? What do you do? Everybody's always looking at when the mother is pregnant, not why the mother got pregnant. Bring in the children, bring in the kids at risk, get them to voice their opinions of, you know what, you're really doing this top-down, heavy-handed thing from the adults telling us what to do, not working. You know, we want to know what's going on. You can't be embarrassed to say the words that need to get said. You know, a vagina is a vagina, penis is penis, say it. This is what they're doing. You know, you can't push off and fob off what needs to get said to the children. So maybe look at ways in which you can involve the kids or the young adults, get them to be peer mentors, etc. Involve them, tell them what happens, give them choices, give them options. All the cases. I think not one of the girls, teenage girls, was above 21. The youngest was actually 13. And a lot of them come from very poor to middle class homes where it's not about no parental supervision, etc. It's the fact that they are curious, they had nowhere to go, they were embarrassed, the parents were embarrassed. In a couple of cases, the girls were actually raped. There was a case with incest. There's lots of things. It doesn't stem from one issue. It's not the child that's unsupervised with, you know, one single parent or a busy home is the only one who's going to get pregnant. That's not true. I have so many young girls who come from different parts of Malaysia who come from loving, good homes. And the parents, you know, whether one parent worked or not, still makes this mistake. And they're not all poor. So I think it's just something that has to do with choices that the girls make. Bad decisions because they have being misinformed on their oppression. It's the same anywhere. But the difference is how we treat those girls and how we make them feel disempowered and how we make them feel that the choice is only give up your baby, abandon your baby, or face the shame. That is what is horrible about the whole situation. In almost all of the cases, the girls have given up their babies, not because I think they honestly wanted to, but because they couldn't, because of parental pressure, family, etc., or because they were really too young and they wanted to go back to school and they couldn't do the single mothers thing. But having said that, I think if they had more options, I think in a lot of the cases, they wouldn't give up their children. They really wouldn't.
How prominent is the issue of incest and rape for young girls getting pregnant?
A lot worse than you think. I don't have numbers for you. I'll tell you it's a lot higher than you think. A lot of things happen behind closed doors. I think one of the studies that was conducted in terms of sexual abuse of children in Malaysia was something like 1 in 4. But in high-risk areas like this, it's about 1 in 2. Whether it's molestation, actual physical sex, whether it's much higher. Nobody asks a young girl of 13, how do you feel? What do you want? It's always, this is what you have to do, this is what, and you know, and you hear them, you can see this glazed look, and they're like, this is what my parents say, this is what my parents want, this is what my family want, this is what, it's never, but when you do and you prod, and like I said, I'm not a counselor, but when you ask, they don't want to give up their children, they really don't. So yeah, it's just tragic, tragic.
This neighborhood is infamous for its sex trade and migrant workers. Children here are especially vulnerable to kidnapping, and unwed mothers are pressured to sell their babies to child trafficking rings. Nur Salaam and other NGOs hope to provide both mothers and children with a little bubble of safety. Orphan Care is another NGO that reaches out to young women even before their children are born. In May 2010, Orphan Care launched what is believed to be Malaysia's first baby hatch. Since then, they have received 18 babies and quickly placed them into carefully selected families. We interviewed Azra Banu, the secretary of the NGO, about Nur Salaam's role in the lives of Malaysian women and children.
Before that, it doesn't matter where the child comes from, so long as the child requires a family, has the need for a family. We believe in placing the child very quickly into loving homes, whether they are now in orphanages nationwide or unborn children, right? We work towards getting these kids adopted into homes. Yeah.
And how many babies so far have come through Orphan Care?
Through Orphan Care, we've had, since the launch of the baby hatch, we've had 18 babies. So that's about an average of 3 a month, right? The babies left with us. But we've had other cases where we've had JKM babies, which mean, what I mean is children in orphanages, older children. We've arranged for their adoption. So it's not just newborns that we look at. We've had a 12-year-old adopted last year. Most of them, most of these women were caught in situations, right? They find themselves in a situation where they really don't know what to do and how to get out of. And some of them come to us quite clear that, look, I just cannot keep this baby, and can you please help me and place this baby in a home? And then there are some who come to us more emotional than that. The tearing of mother and child is painful, right? I keep, reminding people that giving up a child is not like giving up a toy. It is a traumatic experience for the mothers.
So you think that this is a very good solution to mothers just abandoning their babies?
It is an outlet. It's an avenue. It's not a solution. It's not going to solve the problem that we have in our society today of unwed pregnancies, sexual promiscuity, abandonment of babies. We're not going to solve that. But what we've done is there is an acute problem here, and we are tackling one aspect of the problem. All right. So I'm pretending to be one of those young mums, right? So she opens the latch door first, the baby hatch, okay, and she places the baby in, okay. As soon as she places the baby here, a sensor triggers off an aircon unit and a buzzer and a strobe light in our caretaker's room, okay. And there's a CCTV here for our caretaker to be sure there is a baby and not something else, okay. And once the mom's done, okay, there are forms here for her to fill. There's an intercom here as well for the young mother to talk to us if she wants to speak to the caretaker. She needs to hear someone's voice, or if she's left the baby and she changes her mind and she wants to retrieve her baby. The intercom is here for her ease. Everything's made to be as easy as possible for the young mother. Now, once she's left the baby and she's sure of what she's doing, okay, she closes this door, the baby hatch door. Once it's closed, this door, it doesn't open. It cannot be open. It's locked. Okay, there's a self-lock mechanism here. The idea being you need to protect the baby. So you don't want the mom to leave the baby only for someone else to come and take the baby away. So this door is now locked. Should the mother at this point change her mind, should the mother at this point need to speak to someone, the intercom is still here. All right. Now, in the meantime, the caretaker in her room is already alerted to the fact that there's something placed in the baby hatch, right? She comes down of her room, checks on a computer, which is in our office here, front office, and ascertains that it is indeed a baby. Once she's sure that it's a baby, she makes her way here. Now this door is always locked, this gate is always locked for the caretaker security. Now she comes in here, she unlocks this door, all right, and she picks the baby up. Now as soon as the baby is picked up, the aircon turns off, and the buzzer and strobe light in the caretaker's room also go off, right? Turn off. Then she immediately closes this door, of course, right? And goes back up and tends to the baby right away and alerts us, the rest of all of us, that there's a baby here, and we'll come in and see to the well-being of the child, that the child, take the baby for a medical checkup, and then follow through with the adoption process.
Malaysiakini was able to get a hold of the Office of the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development. They informed us that the government has measures in place to prevent and deal with unwanted pregnancies. These include welfare offices that are open to receiving babies, shelters for pregnant women, online resources, reproductive health modules in schools and at national service training, and finally, a 24-hour Talian Nur hotline to report cases of abandoned babies. In a statement, Shahrizat Abdul Jalil, the Minister of Women, Family and Community Development, said, "I am deeply concerned with the issue of abandoned babies. The government, working with local communities, is taking concerted steps to ensure the incidence of infant abandonment is reduced. We encourage and call upon individuals to fully utilize our services and facilities, as public collaboration is key in resolving this social challenge." Along with direct services, the ministry maintains that simultaneous focus needs to be on advocacy, awareness, and prevention programs, which involve families and communities. We recognize that there are no easy solutions to this social challenge, but engagement with those most at risk and a general education for all Malaysian teenagers, parents, and educators is a major step forward. The baby hatch is one of the many strategies the ministry is employing to curb baby abandonment. We continue to welcome initiatives from non-governmental organizations and hospitals to address this challenge, as long as these initiatives conform to conditions specified in the Child Act 2001.
Despite these initiatives, women are still feeling desperate enough to abandon their children. The NGOs and government will continue to work towards a solution, but how do you get rid of the stigma against pregnancies outside of wedlock? This is Megan Radford for Malaysiakini TV.